Tony, who is next?
Up next is Sharky, and I'm going to take a leap of faith here and assume it's something League of Legends based.
Most likely.
I'd like to lodge 6 formal complaints for how long we had to wait.
Denied.
Denied, bro. All of them. Sharky, how you doing? Sorry for the wait, bro.
But yeah, my question here is really just I want to flame the LEC. Who do you think's actually going to win MSI?
I think it's going to be Genji.
Really? I'm feeling JDG.
JDG is good. Don't get me wrong. JDG is probably right now one of the scariest teams in the MSI, and it's mainly because of Ruler. Like Ruler is just a beast, right? And the problem with Ruler is I don't think there's ever been a game where he doesn't get a lead and then just basically rips the other team apart with his lead. But Genji's playstyle is just so controlled. It doesn't matter what you throw at them. You know, SKT, they stood as the early game team in the league, in the LCK, and they just entirely, like, they absorbed all of the pressure from SKT and then just smashed them in the finals. So I sort of feel like Genji is the outlier that everyone is sleeping on. And I don't know why, but I think that they're gonna take the victory.
I think it's probably just because that Korea normally is very reserved in that sort of play style.
Yeah.
And then China will just be like, you know what, we're just going to be 5 Hylissongs right now.
Yeah.
And just fucking monkey down mid.
China is a scary region.
Korea is not prepared for a team of 5 Hylissongs.
That's true, I think, but Genji has dealt with that. And that's one of the things that I think Genji don't mind when you try to play chaotic. They can meet you in the chaos and they can absorb your chaos and they will just out-rotate you. They will do with JDG, I think, what they did to G2, which is just G2 was just constantly behind the tempo. G2 could just not keep up. G2 outplayed them in a bunch of the games in the early game and then just could not keep up.
G2 had no macro in any of their games.
Yeah, but G2 has a massive problem, right? So this is... Oh, I'm so sick and tired of the LEC, bro. Europe is just fucking themselves. I'm so sick and tired.
Look, you had some good openings from Mad Lions, and then they just decided that they don't need a bed anymore and threw it out the fucking window.
So Mad Lions, I don't think should even have won the LEC. In all fairness, I never had any hope for Mad Lions. G2
Look, they at least performed a lot better than G2 this tournament, and I had no expectations for Mad.
You see, I think Mad Lions is just better coached, which is what's saving them at the minute. So here's G2's biggest problem. Dylan. Dylan is G2's biggest problem. G2 constantly comes up with, and this is how you beat the Koreans. There's only one way to beat the Asian teams, and that's through creativity. You will not beat the Asians on a straight up, let's play the game the way the game was meant to be played. Those guys are like fucking robots. They know the game inside and out. They know the exact timings. They know how much damage you're going to do. They know how much damage they're going to do. They know exactly when to back in order to be in front of tempo. They know exactly when to rotate to bot lane, to mid lane, to top lane. So there's no way you're fighting the Koreans in any way, shape, or form on meta and macro. It's not happening. You have to come with very intelligent picks. And Soraka, for example, was a great example of just throwing Genji through the ringer. Genji had no idea how to play against Soraka. Soraka is not picked in the LCK, and so they had no idea what do you do? What's the tempo of this champion? How much can this champion heal at any given point in time? You know, how much damage can this champion deal? They had no idea, and it threw him through the ringer. But here's G2's biggest problem. They also pick comps that can do nothing in the late game. Like, their comps are just disjointed. They have one champion that wants to engage, they have 3 champions that wants to disengage, and they have another champion that basically doesn't want to play. And it's kind of like, okay, but now if this champion is engaging, who's following up? Because everyone else wants to disengage.
The surrender button is the follow-up.
So it's. I think Europe right now suffers with analysts and coaches. I don't think Europe puts nearly enough sort of onus on the importance of having a coach that knows what they're doing, right, and understands how to draft. I think G2 made a massive mistake getting rid of Grabs. I think Grabs was a god in terms of drafting. I think another one that G2 could actually look at is Youngbuck. Youngbuck also an absolute phenomenal drafter, and he understands the weaknesses of his team and how to play around those weaknesses. I think G2's main problem from a player perspective is Yike. Yike clearly does not understand how to play support characters. So whenever Yike is placed on a support jungler, something like a Muakai, something like a Sejuani, where his job is to facilitate the rest of his lanes, it's like Yike just breaks down. He just, I don't know how to facilitate, so I'll just farm. It's like, bro, your job is to get your laners ahead so that they can carry the game for you. Instead, we constantly see caps on picks like Muak, on picks like Sejuani, on picks like Malphite, on picks like Nautilus, where, you know, you have one of the best mid laners in the world in caps, right? This is a guy that came from the West, a European, that is standing toe-to-toe with the best mid laners in the world, and most people agree he's probably better than anyone. And they're putting him on Malphite.
Hey, it worked for Doinby, and FPX won the world that year.
Yeah, but you see, this is the problem. It worked for Doinby because Doinby isn't as skilled. So for Doinby, that playstyle sort of covered up the fact that he isn't as good on high carry champions. He's not bad, don't get me wrong. I mean, you wouldn't be able to play in China if you're not at least proficient, right? But Doinby has never been the rookie or the faker, right? That's not really his playstyle. He's not that mechanically gifted. Caps is. But you're wasting caps on a Malphite where you would rather want caps on something that can just 1v9. That's what you want caps on. You want him on a 1v9 champion where he can rip the map apart and where he goes into a solo lane and no one wants to go there because he will absolutely 1v3 you. Instead, he's on Malphite. And it's sort of like, well, what's he going to do? He's going to be the front line? Okay, that's fine. But do you really want the best mid laner that Europe has ever seen on the front line rather than on the thing that can actually carry? I do think that right now there's way too much pressure being placed on Hansama and Mickey X to try and make plays because Caps is constantly being forced onto facilitators. And even when Caps is placed on carry, quote-unquote, characters, he's still being left behind by Yike because Yike doesn't understand what to do when he's supposed to facilitate, right? So yeah, that's sort of my biggest problem.
I haven't watched the regular season that much. I've only been watching MSI, so I'm not super caught up.
Yeah, that's because you're
G2's problems.
That's because you're a traitor. You are of the West. I can
you
hear
really
your
want
fucking
me to support
accent.
Golden Guardians and C9 after what Eminez did in that
you could
game?
support Europe. Like, look.
I did support Europe. Herx isn't in the tournament. That's not my fault. I can tell you this, he would have been the best Rakan there.
I'm sorry. You support Perks?
Yeah, Perks is a great player to watch, dude. Seeing somebody go from mid to bot and then back again and like still be pretty good.
Yeah, but I don't
even
accept
if his team is falling apart around him.
But I don't
like that's still impressive.
I don't accept your support of Perks because Perks is currently playing for Vitality. They have 2 imports. Basically, what you're saying is I'm supporting Vitality, but they're basically almost 50% Asian. It's like, bro,
look, I came from NA. Like, I supported LFQ when they came over. I didn't want NA anymore. I got a taste of what good league could be, and then they got disbanded because they're a 5-man China team.
Yeah, I mean, I personally don't mind imports that much, but I support Fnatic actually, and I support G2. I would have liked Vitality to go through instead of Mad Lions, if I'm honest with you, because I do think that Bo is just an absolute fucking beast, and I would have loved to see what he could do at this tournament. So I'm a little sad that Bo didn't actually go to MSI. I think Mad Lions is just a done deal. There's no way that Mad Lions is getting out of these groups. I think their next game is a loss as well.
At least they didn't, last pick fucking Rengar to do the Kha'Zix Rengar thing and then just get shit on like Golden Guardians did today.
So Mad Lions has two problems, in my opinion. One is Niski, and the other one is Carzzy. So Niski is basically just like a shit faker. He's like the shitter version of Faker. I cringed so much at the end of the finals. Mad Lions have just won the finals against BDS, right? BDS of all teams. They won, and Niski stands there in the interview and goes, "I can finally say that I am the best mid laner in Europe." And I'm like, no, you fucking can't. You can say that you won Europe. Yeah, like you're
ex-Peke.
You're at least the third best, if not the fourth best, because there are better than you, right? Niski is like a shit faker. Carzzy is just absolutely like Carzzy will go in when he should actually be going back. He makes so many mistakes in team fights where he'll just be in the wrong spot and he'll sort of run away from his own support. And it's just sort of, fucking hell. So I think Mad Lions is just going to lose straight up. I don't think there's a single team that they will lose to, unless it's like one of the smaller regions. So I don't know who their next team is actually, but if they play like against one of the minor regions.
Mad's fighting G2 next.
They might actually win that. G2 is just, there's something so wrong with Dylan. They may actually win against G2. Unless G2 can figure their shit out.
The rest of the next matchups for MSI are just like the finals for each region.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sad.
I don't know. But... Yeah, May 13th is T1 Gen G, then Mad G2, JDG, BLG. Why the fuck are they BLG and not BBG?
Yeah,
and
because there's
Golden
Billy
Guardians and Cloud9.
Yeah.
So like, not super exciting, but it is what it is.
I mean, I'm looking forward to the SKT Gen G game because it's a replay of the final. We'll now be able to see whether or not the final was a fluke, because Gen G looked good in the LCK final. They looked boss mode. So if they can win again against SKT, I'm almost willing to go out on a limb and say, yep, they are gonna win. Because it would depend. Let's see what Faker does, because it feels like Faker, whenever he gets to the final, there's just so much pressure on him. He folds like a lawn chair. He just doesn't show up the same way he does in the regular season. I don't know if that is just the pressure of knowing that he is getting older. You know, Faker is sort of the one that's now pushing the age limit of esports. We always believed that a player at 25 is too old to keep playing in the LEC or in professional league. Faker's older than that.
That's not the problem, because Korea has the mandatory draft, so I think he's draft age now, because you can only push that off for so long.
He's not coming back after that. There's no way.
I mean, there's a couple StarCraft pros who got drafted and then came back after their mandatory military service.
I don't know if you...
Hell, one of my favorite StarCraft 2 pros is Dark, and he's about to leave, and I'm so sad.
Well, the problem is you had Unforgiven, right? That he was drafted because he's Greek. They also have the draft. He was drafted, he came back, and he was never able to reclaim the god tier that he was before, because League changes fast. That's the problem. 2 years in League is a lifetime. It changes fast. The meta shifts. People change the way they play. You know, Unforgiven was a good ADC when the meta was basically marksman. You know, pick your items and just kill. He came back to a meta where most ADCs now are casters. Right? You have to use your spells. You have to know how to use your spells. It's no longer just click and move. So yeah, I don't know. All over, just to answer your question, I don't have hope for the LEC. I'm very disappointed. I thought we were gonna do better, but this is me at every international tournament. Before the tournament, I go, Europe has this. We can win this. We're getting better. And then the Asians absolutely stomp us. And then I go, well, next year.
Nah, man. You go fuck nah, man. Just like the rest of NA teams.
I actually think there's a chance that NA could beat EU if we meet.
If Golden Guardians plays G2 and G2 have a bad day, I can see Golden Guardians winning one game.
I don't know.
If Golden Guardians fights Mad and Mad just decides to not be there, I can see Golden Guardians winning 2 games.
Wow, you don't have a lot of hope. I can actually see NA winning against against the EU. EU just seems to have massive inherent problems. I don't know what is going wrong with EU right now. I don't know if it maybe is just the adaptation, like trying to adapt to the new format. Like they haven't figured out yet how to optimally perform within the new format, or if maybe it is the new format that's just throwing EU teams. But EU just seems to not have the time in the current format to fix their mistakes. It feels like once you have a mistake, that is just your mistake, and you just now have to deal with it. So yeah, it kind of is what it is. But anyways, Sharky, before chat starts to fucking riot, because I can see there's about 3 people in chat that cares about League of Legends, and everyone else is just sort of going, what the fuck's going on?
Hey, I had to sit through the WoW crap. You can sit through the League crap. I do have one question, if you'll let me ask it super fast.
Yeah, go for it, bro.
So, the 40k 10th edition rules are coming out soon, and there's been doing army reveals. They're going to be free for people to, like, read and play with. Mm-hmm. Do you think you'll do a stream of, like, trying to learn how to play 40k tabletop? Since the rules will be free?
I could, sure. I could definitely do a stream trying to play tabletop. I mean, I've never played like a physical tabletop game, but I would be absolutely willing to. I just today actually, I'll show you guys this quickly, if I can fucking find it. Hold up, let me just see before I get too ahead of myself. I need to see if I can find this.
I only asked because I've been watching Bricky's videos of him doing the rule reviews, and I'm super happy with how the Necrons are. I'm super scared of the new Tyranids.
What is he called? I can't remember his username now. Here we go. I found it. So this was made for me. This is my mini that's coming. He's now painting it. It's from Old Man Modo. Old Man Modo, why do you show up as Kimo something on my Instagram? I don't understand. Why not just Old Man Modo straight up? Because it says Old Man Modo, but when I search that, it doesn't want to show you. Anyways, that's my Lionel Johnson. It's coming.
Oh, you got the night one with the fucking... You didn't get the hood? Man, I like the hood head rather than the stupid plume head, but like, the rest of the model's still cool.
I mean, he still needs to paint it. So I'm so looking forward.
Yeah.
I'm also pretty sure, like, this is custom made, by the way. So Old Man Modo literally designed this from the ground up and 3D printed it. So, and he asked me how I wanted, and this is how I wanted it. This is the okay. Is there anything else that you wanted to ask? Because I can see like there's still a few people that need to ask questions, and if I get into a Warhammer discussion now, we're not going to end this.
I need to go to bed, so no,
I'm a huge
all
fan.
Set. I hope you have a great day, and I hope that LEC gets 0 wins, even against itself. They're just draws.
I hate you so much. Sharky, sleep
that
well,
would be hilarious.
Sleep well, bro. Thanks so much for the question. Always enjoy talking a bit of League. Sharky, sleep well, man.